Hello students. Last class discussion was on exceptions. I hope the concepts are clear. So today I am going to discuss one of the important concept, that is DMA, that is direct memory access. So the discussion in the previous classes, it concentrate on the data transfer between the processor and IO devices, and the data transferred by executing the instructions like move instruction, like move data in comma or not, where it will move the data from memory to processor. So an instruction to transfer the input or output data is executed only after the processor determines that IO device is ready. So to do this, the processor either pulls a status flag in the device interface, or it will wait for a device to send an interrupt request. So in either of these cases, considerable overhead is occurred, because several program instructions must be executed for each data word that are transferred. So in addition to polling the status register of the device, the instructions are needed for incrementing the memory address and keeping track of the word count, right? So when the interrupts are used, there is a additional overhead which is associated with saving and restoring the program counter and the other data information. So to transfer large blocks of data at high speed, an alternative approach is used here. A special control unit may be provided to allow the transfer of a block of data directly between an external device and the main memory, so without continuous intervention by the processor. So this approach is known as direct memory access, or DMA. So to transfer the large blocks of data at a very high speed, an alternative approach is used here. So that is known as a DMA, direct memory access, right? Here, DMA transfer are performed by a control circuit that is a part of IO device interface. So we refer to this circuit as DMA controller. So what is DMA controller? The DMA transfers are performed by a control circuit which is a part of IO device interface. So that circuit is known as DMA controller, right? Here the DMA controller performs the function that would normally be carried out by processor when accessing the main memory. And for each word transferred, it provides a memory address and all the bus signals that control the data transfer. So that is one of the importance of a DMA controller, right? Since it has to transfer a large block of data, so the DMA controller must increment the memory address for the successive words, and it will keep track of the number of data transfers. Although a DMA controller can transfer the data without intervention by the processor, but its operation must be under the control of a program executed by the processor. To initiate the transfer of a block or words, the processor sends a starting address, the number of words in the block, and the direction of the data transfer. And on receiving this information, the DMA controller proceeds to perform the requested operation. And when the entire block has been transferred, the controller informs the processor by raising an interrupt signal. Here, while DMA transfer is taking place, the program that requests the transfer, it cannot continue, and the processor can be used to execute the another program. And after the DMA transfer is completed, then the processor can return back to the program, that it is requested the transfer. And here the IO operations are always performed by the operating system. I'll repeat. Here the IO operations are always performed by the operating system of the computer in response to a request from an application program. And the operating system is also responsible for suspending the execution of one program and starting the other program. So for an IO operation involving DMA, the operating system puts the program that requested the data transfer in the block state, and it will initiate the DMA operation, and then it will start the execution of an another program. So when the transfer is completed, then the DMA controller informs the processor by sending an interrupt request. So in response, the operating system puts the suspended program in the running state so that it can be selected by the scheduler to control the execution. This is how the DMA works. So this particular figure shows an example of the DMA controller register that are accessed by the processor to initiate the transfer operations. Here two registers are used for storing the starting address and the word count, and the third register contains the status and the controller flags or the control flags. The read write bit, it determines, that is a R bar W bar, so that is RW bar bit or RW bit, that is a read write bit. It determines the direction of the data transfer. When this bit is set to 1 by the program instruction, then the controller performs a read operation, that is, it transfers the data from memory to the IO device. Otherwise, it performs a write operation. When the controller has completed the transferring block of data and it is ready to receive the another command, that it sets the flag to 1, means it will set that done flag to 1. Here bit 30 is the interrupt enable bit, that is IE bit that we know. So when this flag is set to 1, means when this interrupt enable flag is set to 1, then it causes the controller to raise an interrupt after it has completed transferring a block of data. Finally, the controller sets IRQ bit to 1, that is the interrupt request bit to 1, when it has requested an interrupt. So when the interrupt is requested, then the controller will set IRQ bit to 1. So as an example of a computer system which is given in this figure, it is showing how a DMA controller may be used. Here a DMA controller connects a high-speed network to the computer bus. The disk controller, which controls two disks, also has the DMA capability and provides two DMA channels. Here it can perform two independent DMA operations as if each disk had its own DMA controller. Here the registers needed to store the memory address, the word count, and so on, that are duplicated so that one set can be used with each device. To start a DMA transfer of a block of data from main memory to one of the disk, here a program writes the address and word count information into the register of the corresponding channel of the disk controller. It also provides the disk controller with the information to identify the data for future retrieval. The DMA controller proceeds independently to implement the specified operation. When the DMA transfer is completed, so this fact is recorded in the status and the control register of the DMA channel by setting a done bit. At the same time, if the IE bit is set, that is the interrupt enable bit is set, then the controller sends an interrupt request to the processor and sets IRQ bit, that is interrupt request bit. Here the status register can also be used to record the other information such as whether the transfer took place correctly or any error that has occurred. Here the memory accesses by the processor and the DMA controller are interventions. The request by DMA devices for using the buses are always given the higher priority than the processor request. Among the different DMA devices, top priority is given to the high-speed peripherals, that is the high-speed peripheral devices such as a disk, a high-speed network interface, or a graphics a display device. So always the top priority is given to such high-speed devices. Since the processor originates most of the memory access cycles, so the DMA controller can be said to steal the memory cycles from the processor. Hence, this interweaving technique is usually called as a cycle stealing technique. Alternatively, the DMA controller may be given exclusive access to the main memory to transfer a block of data without any interruption. So this is known as a block or burst mode. Here, most of the DMA controllers incorporate a data storage buffer. So in this case of network by interface, as you can see in this particular figure. So in this particular figure, most of the DMA controls the incorporate a data storage buffer. Here the DMA controller reads a block of data from main memory and it stores that into its input buffer. This transfer takes place using a burst mode at a speed appropriate to the memory and the computer bus. Then the data in buffer are transferred over the network at the speed of the network. Here a conflict may arise if both the processor and a DMA controller or two DMA controllers try to use the bus at the same time to access the main memory. To resolve these conflicts, an arbitration procedure is implemented on the bus to coordinate the activities of all the devices requesting the memory transfers. So that technique is known as bus arbitration technique. So bus arbitration technique that I will discuss in next class. Thank you.